this one is a heater because we got to sit down and chat with one Derek Blevins of My Ticket Home.
Roach Koach
podcast.
We are here today with Derek Blevins of My Ticket Home. Derek, welcome to Roach Koach.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
It's so great to have you here. We are huge fans of My Ticket Home. If people go back and listen to our old episode we did on Strangers Only, we gushed about it. Since then, famously in our show Lore, Jenny said it was the best album we ever did on the show.
Oh, wow.
And we've done hundreds of albums at this point.
As we cruise to episode 455
thereabouts. Yeah. And just, we love the band. We love what you guys have done. And so we were super, super excited when we saw that you're getting back together and did this reunion show. And so we wanted to have you on to kind of talk about the reunion, talk about what's been going on, talk a little bit about the past of My Ticket Home, talk about the future, just talk about it all. Derek, to get started, so you guys were trucking along. In 2017, you put out Unreal. You tour that one into 2018, and then you take a break. There was never like a breakup. It seemed like no one breaks up anymore. They sort of just take a break, go on hiatus. What was going on?
Sure. So I guess there were some like behind the scenes family things that were happening. We had tours scheduled and plans, and it really didn't make sense for the situation that was happening kind of at home. We ended up canceling, all of them just for the circumstance. And within that time frame, we all got real jobs is sort of what happened. So then as time went on, it got more complicated to have the conversation about touring or, devoting as much time as we had available before, not being 21-year-old snot-nosed kids out there skateboarding and running around and just hoping for the best. It was more or less time to, I guess, fully get our lives together. Not that it wasn't going well and on the upswing for the band itself, but it's difficult when, other things happen in the meantime of, like purchasing houses and, like kind of just growing into real adults, if you will. It was a conscious decision that we didn't really expect to take this long.
So the question then becomes, so you guys take the break, life happens, adult life happens, we all get it, we get it. And then one day, I'm assuming there's a MTH group chat, and one day somebody's just want to drop some riffs on some people? Is that like how it goes?
Relative. Yeah, it was more or less a push from Nick. I give him all of the credit for this, where he went to school in Nashville. He went to Blackbird Studio to learn production and, just continue to, I guess, try to be more valuable for our band while also staying in the music world and finding something that he can make money doing, that he's passionate about. And I think he was really influenced by all of that, understanding that we're all capable of doing something relative to that too. So we are constantly kind of getting the nudge from Nick of, why don't you just get you a little studio in your house? Just set something up. It's not expensive. It's not that complicated. You guys can learn. And as time went on, I had gotten a little set up in my basement. So, our drummer Marshall, our other guitar player Matt, everyone ended up, curating their own home studios. And I am a very obsessive person. If I find something that I'm attracted to, I am all in, even to a fault sometimes. So I knew if I had my own studio to be able to, I guess, just do whatever I wanted without any separate influence, it was bound to kind of go off the rails a little bit as far as production and getting things out. So I kind of, I guess, from Nick's, nudge, I started really kind of running with the ball as far as writing music and starting to put things together that we could use, maybe we can't use. It was going into an MTH Dropbox every single time I would write something. And then, I don't know, we probably got to 12 to 15 of those. It's like, okay, well, you guys just want to go ahead and write a record then? We'll talk about it. Let's start moving. Matt started writing songs, and Marshall started putting drums on these songs, Nick's doing vocals on these songs. And, we just continued to keep writing until we had what we considered to be, enough for a record, which was like 40 plus songs. Not that we're not going to do 40 songs, of course, but
right.
Finding 13 within those that were actually worth it, it happened finally. And so when that happened, it became obvious, like we're doing this again. There's no reason not to. We all have the fire for it. We all have the itch. Let's just, and if we can't tour as much or we can't be, as out there and available, that's fine. This exists now, this internet thing, it's all really, I guess, complementary to not. You can use what you have online. So anyway, with all of that, we knew we weren't done, and we ended up, this was already decided and discussed, and we were going to put a record out. And then we ended up playing one song together in Columbus a few months back. And when that happened, the fire that's it. Like it was over with. We had to play on the record, but then that's the only reason even that show happened. It was appropriate. It was time. Like we were officially all. Before I got on this, 2 minutes before, and a part of why it took me a second, I was talking to Marshall and Nick about what the next phase of all of this is.
Love it.
We're talking about this stuff every day now. Like I said, the fire is relit.
So the song that you played, was that one of the new ones that you had put together, or was it doing one of the older ones so that you could kind of have something familiar?
Yeah, it was Kick Rocks. It was an older one. We did not practice it. We did not. There was none of that.
Full muscle memory. Let's go.
Yeah, it probably didn't go 100% well. It maybe didn't go exactly how it should have, but it was enough for us and for everybody else, apparently, that we really felt it again.
That's awesome.
It wasn't dancing on the idea of the internet record anymore. It was very much, we're doing this. This is real, and we all miss it, and we all felt it, and that was that.
That's great. That's great to hear. Because I can tell you that I listened to all three full lengths this weekend, and then just this evening. And I got to tell you, putting on Strangers Only, just electricity through my body. I can tell you, just this record every time.
Yeah, thank you. We were definitely.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. We were punk ass skateboarding kids that were really just ready to throw it all at the world at that time, and it's weird for, I guess, us to listen to now because we feel young, like listening to it, you feel a lot younger. But on the other side, the sentiment that was coming through was very us at the time, and it feels very pure. And what we were after, even though we had no idea at the time what we were after, there was no plan or no direction. It was just more or less us four in a basement arguing until we found stuff that we all liked, and it was worth every minute of it, ultimately, just based on what came out. So we're proud of that record for sure, and we're excited to continue some of the vibe from that moving forward.
Well, that's great to hear. It's been interesting, charting the arc of it all, and I know I was trying to go through and remember like when the Puke Rock thing happened, and then I pulled this copy out of Strangers Only, which I have right here, and it literally says Puke Rock right inside, and I was like, oh, okay, it started with this record. Okay, I'm right on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do you guys at all consider yourselves new metal, or is it firmly like we're Puke Rock and we don't look at anything else?
No, we're not that like litigious about it. It was okay. More or less that was a song idea, and then potentially like a record name idea. And then when we were writing that record, it wasn't super clear what we were, because there is obviously influences from new metal. We listened to a lot of Deftones, Slipknot, Incubate, like these types of things at the time. So there's no way it's unfair to call it new metal. It has plenty of the elements. We were influenced by those elements, but we also didn't want to just be automatically grouped whatever everyone else delegated. So it felt more like grabbing the bull by the horn and making our own rules than letting people decide for us. Now, granted, it is what it is. It's new metal, and it's got like a thrash, aggressive sides and things like that. But we were like not knowing what box people were going to put it in, that made our own box.
Right. Yeah, because it definitely also, especially going back to Create a Cure, which I also have a copy of here, and going back to that one,
Hell yeah.
and listening to that, and it definitely, and I thought it was in the Wikipedia, but maybe it was just an interview I found or someone had written up, because it seemed like you guys came out of Create a Cure, you were in the scene, and then you were hearing the other bands, and you were like, everyone sounds the same. We all sound the same. We've got to tear up the rule book. We have to do something else. Because the thing is funny is that looking at reviews from the time, it seemed like people were very divided on Strangers Only, and they were like, I can't believe these guys are doing this. Is this allowed? Check. Is this allowed? And I love it, because as time has gone on, I mean, a lot of those other bands, I don't know them anymore. Strangers Only is never going away, baby. It's never going away.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. It's here to stay, which I'm grateful for, especially like for people that get it. I can't be more excited that people still give a shit, frankly. It's cool. What, 12, 13 years now, it's have gone by, that it still brings value to people's brains on, kind of the aggressive new metal potential influence on what happened, what's going on now, I guess. Not to say that we were, it's not like we were influenced seen by any means, but there was, we were definitely like an outlier writing that record. And with the label we were on, and even some of the responses we were getting from them as well as other people, it did feel like to them, it maybe wasn't the right move. And it no different than the attitude of the record. We didn't give a shit. It didn't matter, and it wasn't even about breaking the mold or, like trying to be something crazy different or whatever. You hit it on the head. It probably was an interview we were doing where consistently we sounded just like every single band, and you do that for 2 years every single night, and you hear the same stuff over and over again. It's going to get stale. And that's what happened. It wasn't we're going to just be so different and we're going to change the game or what have you. It was more or less, we were just over it. And not to say that there's not value in that music. Of course there is, and you're allowed to like what you like, be influenced by what you're influenced by, but it wasn't us anymore.
And it's funny to think that you guys at the time, doing this record, it's divisively received. And now Matt and I, we receive songs every week from our listeners who are like, you got to check out this band. You got to check out this new band. These young boys from Australia, these young boys from New Zealand. We were just sent last year, this band Throne. And I listened to this record. And my first thought is, if these aren't the children of Strangers Only, these guys are doing these heaters. But I'm like, you can't get here without being here first. It's just wild to me to see this sort of slow grow influence. And then when you do say that it has been 12 years, I'm like, it has been 12 years. Yeah. It really has.
Yeah, I had to do that just now. It was weird for me to say that. I really, as I was saying, I'm turning bro. It's happening.
It's happening.
Well, one of the things that like when we take a look at a record like that, especially our show, which we're older gentlemen. I mean, we're not going to pretend that we're young kids in this game. I grew up in the 90s. Like, I was first wave new metal, pretty much not liking it at the time. And through the course of the show and Lauren's love for it and their former co-host's love for it have really turned a corner. I was much more like industrial rock. Like, I liked industrial metal. That's kind of where, but then they start folding it in with the new metal and it hooks in me. And now I'm just like, you know what? I like this Korn record. I think these guys are going somewhere.
They just might be. Yeah.
They just might be going. I am traditionally late to the party on a lot of heavy music because it's not usually the first thing I go to. So I do get introduced to a lot more heavy music through this show. And when we heard your record when I heard Strangers Only for the first time, it was like, holy shit, I love this. This hits me all in like all the right places. And what I started to realize is there's always, steal from your influences, but the real secret is steal the right stuff. And what I really liked about what you did on that particular record, and I have listened to the other ones and I like them too, but we're talking Strangers Only in this moment, was like the first time after hearing copy after copy of, we're going to put 7 strings on our guitars too, and we're going to be just like Korn, and they aren't. We just listened to a band called Flymore from Russia from 1999, and I can tell you right now, they sound exactly like Korn. Like,
Yeah.
They sound exactly, but it's not, and you know it's not. Whereas like when you look at influence and you take the things that actually are important, and a lot of it is just attitude and style, not they play diminished chords, so we're gonna play diminished chords. Like it really opens up the like that's what was so exciting to me about what your band does and it has done is I really feel like you have influences, but you aren't your influences. That was a long way to say that, but there you go.
No, thank you. I mean, honestly, that's a huge compliment, and I think you nailed it on the head. I again, not really having a pure idea directly on what we were going to do. I think that we were just naturally influenced by what we were really attracted to about that music. And luckily, when you put four people together that all have a relative idea of, what they really appreciate, it you might, cross over a little bit as far as, I don't like this or I don't like this, but the cream rises to the top for what that was, and for what we were after. And like not clear plan wise, but I guess emotionally. Yeah, to your point, there's it's more about the feeling and it's more about the what you're getting out of it. It's I heard somebody say recently that people don't remember what you said to them; it's how they made you feel.
Okay.
That is no different than music, of course. Music is just vibrations. Ultimately, it's how did it make you feel? And we wanted that. We wanted Tony Hawk Pro Skater in your face, and not really talking about that. It was just burning through song after song after song. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Oh shit, that might be it.
Yeah.
That feels great to all of us. That feels like the emotion we're chasing, and that's really what it was about. Was like how it made us feel.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not. I was gonna say I'm not an instrument player. Classic sentence, normal sentence. Anyone says I don't play an
Lauren,
instrument.
your nose is just pouring out blood
Pouring out
right
blood.
now.
I got to tell you, yeah. But I can say that listening to Strangers Only is the thing I've always enjoyed about it is just that it feels very much like we're just gonna drop kick you 10 times, and I hope you're all right with that. And then we're out the door. And then we're out the door. And it's also nice when and I know that Nick was doing for a while on his Instagram, he was sort of doing like vocal tutorials, how he's been working on his vocal effect when he was in Head Cave and everything like that. But the thing about the vocals on Strangers Only though, and I could be wrong, but they sometimes sound like I'm just gonna scream like I don't care because I don't know how to take care. And maybe somebody will tell me later. And that kind of
Recklessness.
Recklessness is what comes through, and I do really enjoy that because and you have, I mean, when you have a song like Kick Rocks, Painfully Bored, these strike me as sort of like fuck it kind of songs, and you kind of want, but it's one of those things where it's a fuck it kind of album, but with laser point precision. You don't run into that too often. I don't think there's a question there. I'm just throwing more compliments your way.
That's great. No, thank you. I told all of them, as many as you want to give. Feel free. I'm feeling great on a Monday night. Yeah, you're right though. A lot of it was thrown at the wall, and pretty much, hey, we're here. We're gonna scream "fuck you" for the next 30 minutes, and then we're gonna go home, and that's gonna be it. And that's what we wanted. That's what we were after. We really didn't write that many additional songs. Like once we figured out what we were doing, it was very about 3 or 4 songs in. We had the point. We understood this is what we're after. This is what we're chasing, and we're gonna grab that ball, and run with it.
There you go. Now with Unreal, I mean, the main influence that I really got out of that was sort of like a mid-career Deftones vibe overall, which I feel, like I said, once again, the children of My Ticket Home, you hear that a lot in bands like Stargazer and Loathe and what have you, that sort of have really kind of jumped on that atmospheric sound. Was that conscious decision with that one? You were thinking we don't want to try to do Strangers Only 2. We want to really mix it up. We're feeling, the Be Quiet and Drive vibes. What was going on with that one?
Great question. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like we need to be so different. It's that we were all in different places in our lives, and we were all being influenced again, by something else to some degree. Yes, Deftones still, of course, being, I would say, our primary. You could tell on the record, but not. We didn't want to be them. Still trying to find a way to be us, without just being in your face the entire time. Because there's value to that, and I completely agree with that. I'm proud of that. But I want you to be able to listen to a record on your drive home from work, not while you're working out or like you have to get so juiced up for something, because that was a lot of it too. It was very much I listen to this while I do this, and it's all sick. That is sick. But then, I like to breathe a little bit when I listen to music.
Sure.
I like a breath, and I think we were just chasing the breath. And not that I'm less proud of the record, but it was. I guess it was different. It did come out different than we expected. I mean, it did.
Okay. With the new record that you guys are all working on now, are you intending to self-produce? Are you going to bring somebody in? Are you still figuring that out?
We are self-producing. So now that we all have, our in-studio setups, Marshall is more than capable of doing the drums himself with the programs that are available. Likewise for me. I mean, technology,
it's wild
as it can be sometimes from 15 minutes ago.
Oh yeah.
It can also clearly be extremely valuable. I never thought, that like we would all be getting the sounds we're getting because this is not really our style. We're more analog people, pedals, everything's real. And then I was like jaded about it for a long time, and then to find out how much is available to you, it changes everything. With that, we're all obviously kind of doing our own thing on our own sides, but we figured out a really healthy way to blend all of the sounds that we're all creating. And Nick's, experience, obviously going down to Blackbird and him definitely having most or the healthiest, I guess, perspective on our music because he's in the band and he understands exactly what we're after versus going to a producer and going through, 10 to 15 versions of what we heard, but they don't hear yet. And on top of the financial side, I mean, it's a lot different now. We're I don't know, 7-8 years removed and capable at this point. So why spend the money? If we can do it ourselves, then, we don't need management. We don't need booking agents. We don't need labels. We don't need any of them. We'll do it ourselves, and
right.
That's it.
And then your splits are better. Everything's better for the band because well, I mean, we have a lot of jokes that we do on the show. One of our main jokes is around the producer of Strangers Only, Will Putney.
Yeah.
We talk about we've actually interviewed him, and he's an incredibly nice guy. But we call him the Man of Fire because almost every band that he does brings the heat. Like he has a tendency to produce like rippers.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to, his skill too, and him actually hearing and understanding what a band is bringing and being willing to go that direction with them while also adding fuel to the fire. He's definitely fantastic at what he does, and he deserves all the success he has now.
I love that. And I love that you can take that experience and then say, and now we're here. Like when you don't know, it's great to have a guide. It's great to have somebody in there with you. But when you do, especially now, because it is, I mean, at a much lesser extent, this show doesn't exist without technology. I'm in Michigan, Lauren's in Indiana. We're not getting together every week to record the show. I mean, it would not happen without the technology, and the technology is so good. Being able to master is good. Being able to actually carve a space out. We're literally recording this show. This is a $15 mic. What are we talking about?
I love it. I commend you guys for finding a way. I mean, we were in a similar boat, obviously, and it's kind of, you make a decision, a conscious, is this worth it? And if you roll through the mud, and the bullshit and it is, if you can find a way. So I commend you guys sticking with it and figuring out a way. We're doing the same thing,
Yeah.
Two different things, but one and the same.
I wanted to ask you about the show with Church Tongue. That was really kind of the first one with all of you guys since 2018, like a full show?
Yeah.
Okay.
We really didn't even anticipate playing that show. We had been contacted a couple times, and it just didn't feel appropriate. Just because, again, we don't really know exactly what our timelines are, what we're planning on doing, any of that. So then, it felt like they really were making a serious attempt, like multiple times. And then we also happened to play that one song. And
That was it.
That was
yeah,
it.
we're all flying. You guys are flying to Ohio. We're doing this. That's what it is. So grateful we did it, and so grateful we decided to do it. It was, so our style. I mean, there were skateboards drilled into the stage.
Oh, there you go.
This kind of like cool underground, but also, enough for people that gave a shit come to the show to Columbus, to really feel the experience, ourselves included. So I couldn't be happier that we said yes to that. Those dudes are super cool and, really deserve 75% of the credit for getting us out of the house.
I love it.
There you go. There you go. I've been looking all over the internet. I could not find a set list. Do you happen to have the set list of what you guys did that night?
Yeah, I can tell you. So we started Spit Not Chewed. We went into, I don't know. Do you want to hear all of this right now?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
We're living for this.
Word. Sick. All right. So, yeah, we started with Spit Not Chewed, went into Ayahuasca, and then we shifted to 2 Unreal songs. We did Hyper Real, and then we did Flypaper, and then transitioned back Hot Soap, brand new song.
Sweet.
There you go. There you go. I saw some clips. It looked like the audience was hot as fuck. They were going buck wild, which is what you want. At any point were you like, they're coming too hot and in a good way? Was it like really getting hectic?
Well, no, no, that never happened. I never once had that feeling. I want more kind of guy. And I mean, like, I'm doing something local in Columbus. So like that scene, that kind of world is something that I'm really, really engaged with right now. I really was proud actually of what was going on and how excited everybody still was and how well it ended up going. You never know, it's been X amount of time and you're not sure how much it even matters that you might be playing the show. Maybe this is church tongue show or what have you. But then, it did. I'm proud of this. I'm not trying to be a douchebag and brag about any of it, but like it sold out so much that they had kind of pushed fire code and some of my friends still couldn't get in, it was so just that feeling, I guess is my point, just realizing that there's still a market for us and there is still people that care and it does matter, like we still have room here. We still have something to do here. Additionally, eye-opening and again, relit even more fires for everybody. So we do have plans. We have things that we're like looking forward to moving on. But I mean, that if the one song was a lighter, that was a bonfire, we're here now, and we're not done yet.
There you go. That's all I needed to hear, guys. That's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear.
We're done.
You're
we're
grinning
done.
from ear to ear over here.
I've just because it's so funny is that I've been this thing is Strangers Only had not left rotation for me really ever since I first heard it, and so it's always been like, oh man, if this could just really, we just give me one more, just give me one more, it's like a drug addict here or something, but it is very exciting. I mean, when I saw like the announcement, I mean, I'm texting Matt, I'm texting Jenny, I'm texting people who don't even know who you are, and I'm saying you got to know they're back, the boys are back. So obviously new record being made, being worked on. Do you have a loose timeline? Are you still playing it out? I mean, you guys are obviously still texting and everything, putting things together, but are you looking at 2025? Are you thinking 2026? I mean, anything like that?
100% 2025. That is the answer. It will be out before the end of 2025.
There we go.
We have relative timelines. I wouldn't be doing my guys justice if I gave a direct one, but
sure.
Yeah.
I would say that we, after a bonfire, are ready to roast some marshmallows, baby. It's we're on the move. And I got to give Nick a ton of credit too. So much of it's on his shoulders because he's the one mixing and mastering, and so I wouldn't want to put the pressure of a timeline directly on him.
Mm-hmm.
But content will continue to be created because we're not going to pop our head out like a groundhog and then go back into the underground for X amount of time. We're moving.
Mm-hmm.
Everything will be moving in parallel to the record being done, and then ideally ideally it won't be after summer. It won't be that long. But again, there's
Cool.
still some moving parts to all of that.
Okay. Yeah. Are you guys thinking about music videos?
Yes. Yes.
Cool. All right. Can I give one note? And you don't have to take it, but I gotta give
I
it.
love good advice. Please.
I don't know if this is
Well,
good
then,
advice.
then
I don't-
don't
I
tell
won't
them.
tell you if it's not.
All right. All I
Oh,
can tell you
there
is
we
that-
go.
There we go. We've been doing this show for almost 9 years now, and I've watched more than anybody else. I've watched my share of new metal music videos, new metal adjacent music videos, and the one feature that I live for whenever it shows up is worms. If there's any way that
seen a
you
lot
can
of
work
those
some
references.
worms
Yeah,
into a
okay.
music video, and I'm talking even if it's just like a panning shot of a terrarium with some worms going around, that
Okay.
would make my day. Always looking for worms. Because here's the thing, it's 2025. I know you guys aren't going to be doing the dreads anymore. Dreads are out, you know. And I think, to be moving around like you guys do with these songs, especially the Strangers Only songs, you can't be jinkoing it up. But worms at the very least, that would make my day. Matt, is there anything you would like to see in a music video?
I mean, how can I top worms?
Well, I already mentioned Jinkos too.
Yeah.
That would have been my suggestion. I think.
I mean, I'm a big fan of gurneys and broken wheelchairs.
You do love that, Matt. Yeah. If you guys do film in an abandoned warehouse or an abandoned insane asylum, an old broken gurney, put Nick on the gurney. He's like the patient being wheeled down. He's singing to the camera because he's crazy.
He's so off the wall.
And you use that matrix filter that makes everything look kind of weirdly green.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
Okay, yes.
we're warming up.
He's warming up. He's warming up.
I actually just watched Nick Made Me. I just saw the Matrix for the first time.
Whoa.
A week and a half ago.
Wow.
Well, I've tried conceptually. That is a movie that is so up my alley. I'm like a conspiracy freak. So I'm surprised that it took me that long to watch it. With that being said, he made an exact comment that's relative to what you just said. Well, you don't know this, but the influences I've had on some of our videos already are based off of this movie. So you just hit something right on the head a little bit. And you know what? I will say, the second you said worms, I did have a mental image of some of these music videos that have the worms in them. So you guys are on the button. I mean, you are.
This is us. Finger on the
us,
pulse.
Finger on the pulse. Thinking about worms.
You get it, dude.
You don't do this for 9 years and not pick up a couple of things.
Absolutely. Well,
for the sake of the show,
yeah.
there are a few things that we do need to ask. One of them is your history with new metal, whether it be what you grew up with or exposure to it later, or if it wasn't something. But did you have a band? What's your new metal experience, I guess, for lack of a better term?
Yeah. So when I first discovered rock music, I think the first record I ever purchased on my own that was an actual rock record was Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park. And I was very young. I mean, I'd probably like 11 or 12 years. I didn't know what I was listening to really at the time. I just knew I liked it. And I think that had kind of an underlying influence my entire life. That type of feeling that I was always hoping to hear out of a band. I started listening to bands like Billy Talent, or I guess on the more like butt rock, if that's still a term, side of it. Like Crossfade, and these types of bands that still had oddly like hint of these new metal influences, but I wasn't anywhere close to understanding what any of that was. Korn, these I guess. I mean, I hate to say it, but the local radio station helped carry a lot of my stuff too. A lot of Korn radio, a lot of Slipknot on the radio, a lot of those types of like aggressive but also still rock bands, because that was, there were these a lot of this pop stuff that's like running everything now didn't exist as much. Rock was having the loud guitars is what was making the billboards and so that's what I heard most of. And growing up in the '90s, like it was all a part of it. My favorite band of all time is Incubus. Make Yourself was, I think, a perfect record. I think it was very natural. Plus, I played a lot of, I was a big skateboarder. I played a lot of Tony Hawk video games, and I think those soundtracks also helped curate my music taste. So I think, it was just generally the stuff I liked always had this feeling around it.
Love it.
Love
it. And we do because, you gotta make clips. I mean,
Sure.
Derek.
I get it 100%.
We gotta just keep making content, Derek. The streets won't let us sleep.
They won't, especially since Matt makes this incredible content that just makes people go crazy in the comments, lose their minds.
It's time to do it together, Derek. We're gonna figure it out.
Do it together, boys. I'm in.
All right. So we want to play a little bit of this or that new metal guitarist. I'm going to give you 2 guitarists. You choose the one that you want, and then I'm going to give you another one, and we're going to go through about 10 of them.
Great.
All right. So we start with the classics. Monkey or Head from Korn?
Head.
Ooh. Head or Mike Mushak from Stained?
Head.
Head or Ben Moody from Evanescence?
Head.
Head or Brad Delson from Linkin Park?
Oh. Linkin Park. I'm going that direction.
Woo!
Delson.
Delson. Brad Delson or Jim Root from Slipknot?
Jim Root.
All right. Jim Root or Marcos from POD?
Oh, shit. Jim Root.
All right. Jim Root or Wes Borland from Limp Bizkit?
I fucking knew his name would get brought up. That one's super tough. Seriously. Wes Borland.
Ah.
Yeah.
Wes Borland or Dan Donegan from Disturbed?
Wes Borland.
Wes Borland or Steph Carpenter, Deftones?
New metal specifically, right?
That's where we're at. Yeah.
Wes Borland.
All right. Wes Borland or Jerry Horton, Papa Roach?
Wes Borland.
Wes Borland, Darren Malkian. I'm not his family, so I don't pronounce it correct, from System of a Down.
Got you. Yeah, from System. Yeah, Wes Borland.
Oh, and Wes Borland's our winner.
Borland's winner.
He's the sound that were created. I mean, he has a whole vibe of his own that I think made a lot of us exist. So,
Love it.
For sure. There you go. I guess this will be the closer. Have you heard Limp Bizkit Still Sucks? Have you heard the album?
Hell yeah, I have.
So you know the riff about the Out of Style riff. Like that's
the song.
Yes, it is.
Well, I mean, what's the dad vibes or whatever?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a cool vibe too. But oh yeah, no, that's the one. Out of Style is. I was so reinvigorated by them hearing that song because it came out. I think it was the first single.
Yeah.
Right.
First song. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Wes right there. That's why he wins right there.
That's why he wins. Derek, thank you so much for taking time and talking to us. We're all huge fans. We're so hyped for new My Ticket Home. Of course, as it comes out, we'd love to have you come back on, talk more about it. Of course, we're going to be keeping the eye outs for the worms. And yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys for supporting us as long as you have. I know we kind of show up and go away for a long time. So it does mean a lot that, people stick by, the product, if you will, or, stick by us, I guess. You guys are being supportive this entire time. And, I'm grateful to be here and I'm happy to be back whenever you guys invite me.
We're excited about that. Thank you.
Thank you. What a nice guy.
The best. That's
best.
Midwest nice right there. That is Midwest nice.
That's right. Listen, we're from Michigan. He's from Ohio. We all get it.
It's a people business first, baby.
That's right. Derek, thank you so much.
Thank you, Derek.
For coming on the show, chatting about My Ticket Home, telling us about the future of My Ticket Home, which sounds bright. Sounds like it's on fire.
Ooh.
In a good way. So very exciting for that. We're all going to keep our eyes and ears peeled for new My Ticket Home. And also, clearly, the upcoming My Ticket Home video that will feature some worms.
I can't wait.
And that does bring us to the end of another episode of Roach Koach. Thank you so much for listening. Keep on saying hello to us online. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky. We're on all of those. Subscribe on Spotify. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Send us an email, roachcoachpodcast@gmail.com. Head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/roachcoachpodcast. Become a patron. Do it now. It's worth it.
Let me tell you right now.
Yes.
Let me tell you right now.
Yes.
Any level, Patreon.
Uh-huh.
Well, if you're out there, you're watching our new This or That series, right? You're watching
Yeah.
people, they're given lead singers. We just heard guitarists. If you want to participate in this, the best way to participate is through Patreon, because that's the only place I'm putting this up. We're giving first access to our 7-string members, secondary access to our free members. Just got to go over there, sign up on patreon.com/Roach Koach podcast. You can talk to the two of us, dream come true, or just me, dream come true,
Dream come true. Dream come true.
We're opening up spots. We're going to have you on the show. We're going to use your stuff on our socials. Together, we will make Roach Koach the #1 music podcast in the world.
The world.
And it will immediately crater to about the middle of the pack. But for a small notch. #1.
Listen, to get a #1 single, you only have to be #1 for 1 week. Okay?
That's correct.
1 week. Everyone's always, Mariah Carey, 16 weeks, whatever. Listen, you just got to get to #1 for one fucking week.
And then you're a #1 artist forever.
Forever. So keep that in mind. Also, head on over to your streamer of choice, type in my space ticket space home, and pull up the My Ticket Home discography and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, have a great time.
Have a great time. Check out those rippers, and which new rippers and Root. They're coming. They're coming, baby. And possibly Worms in a music video. Very excited about that.
You were giddy about Worms.
I was sitting on that one. I was like, if we ever have an artist on, I'm pitching Worms.
You did hard.
Yeah.
You threw hard for Worms.
I did. And I can tell you guys, Matt was both excited and also considered closing the window. He was not sure what to do.
It was like, this is the most Lauren thing I've seen in a while. He's pitching Worms.
Got to pitch them Worms.
I do the same to him. I do the same to you, Lauren. We both are little picadillos. It's what makes us who we are.
Absolutely. All right. So until next time, Matt, thank you.
Lauren, thank you.